So my early 90s Gazelle Roadster is back inside the barn because I want to have another look at this rear wheel. It rides okay, but there is more play than I like on the cones. There is some sideways play. You don't really notice it when riding, but sometimes I can hear this rattle and I don't like it. And there's also an issue with the rear drum brake. It has some drag, so at this moment I don't have a lot of stopping power. So I'm trying to spin the wheel as fast as I can, and now I'm going to slam on the brakes as hard as I can. And I'm pulling the brake lever all the way to the handlebar. And that's all the stopping power I get. And that's because I backed off this nut here. Because if I set it any tighter, there is a noticeable drag. I'm not sure what I can do about this, because I did clean this drum brake when I reassembled the hub. I don't feel like taking out the whole wheel, so I'm going to try and adjust the cone from this side while the wheel is still inside the frame. So first I'm backing off the axle nut. That's probably enough. A bit more won't hurt. Next I need to try and see if I can loosen up this extra nut that I installed. Because the axle of this hub is narrower than the original. Now there is another lock nut behind that washer that I installed. Hopefully I can grab it with my cone wrench, because there is not a whole lot of room here. Lots of parts of the bicycle that are in the way. The frame, the brake reaction arm, the stays for the carrier. Okay, that's probably enough. And next I'm going to try and see if I can fasten the cone by turning this lock washer that sits over the cone. I don't have the proper tool for this, so I'm using an old screwdriver. And with the camera in the way, this is kind of difficult to do. So, that was a quarter turn, and it's already feeling better. I think I will tighten it just a little bit more. There's still more play than I like. I'm sorry, my hand will be probably in the way. Well, I think you saw enough. I will try to fasten the cone a bit more without the camera in my way. I'm done adjusting the cone, and there is now hardly any sideways play on the wheel anymore, so that's good. But I'm having a hard time to try and nip this fin lock nut up. It's difficult to grab, and the frame is in the way, but it feels like this fin lock nut just keeps turning. Maybe I'm thinking maybe the thread is damaged, because I didn't loosen it up this much, and I've definitely turned it a lot more than I did when I loosened it up. And it, well, the resistance when I turn the nut is too little. So there might be something wrong with this thing. Maybe the thread is damaged, I don't know. But I will tighten this up as good as I can. And then I think I will go for another test ride. You see, it keeps turning without hardly any resistance. The big one that I installed to make the to take up the space for the narrower axle, it is working good. And there's also no problem with the axle nut. No problem. I don't know. There might be a problem. Yep, there is a problem. Fuck. Oh. Well, I think I can leave that washer out. And yeah, the insides of this axle nut are gone. The thread is stripped. I think the thread on the axle might still be okay. Let's hope I have a spare axle nut. Unfortunately, the best I can do at this moment is this fin lock nut. It should be good enough for some light testing. It still spins okay, but backpedaling is a lot harder now. Maybe I set the cones too tight? Must be it. After backing up the cone, I can now feel just a little bit of play. And backpedaling is now a lot lighter. So I think I will leave it like this. I'm going to test the bicycle for a while. Hopefully the drum brake will improve. But I think I will have to open it up at some point, but not now. Compared to how it was before, the rear wheel now feels a lot better. Very little play. Hopefully I can also fix the drum brake at some point. But first I will do some more testing. So I'm just back from another test ride, and the rear wheel has improved somewhat. It is less rattly. Unfortunately, the drum brake still sucks, and I'm hoping it will get better over time, just like a car brake, but I'm not sure, and I might have to open it up at some point. The front brake also kind of sucks. It makes a squealing noise, and I just put a tie wrap on the front brake linkage because those rod brakes can be rather rattly, and the little bolt that bolts the pieces together is kind of worn. There's lots of play on it. Alright, that's where I'm going to leave it for now. I will continue this another day. I just noticed there is some oil on these spokes, and I did put some extra oil in the hub through the oil point, and also through the axle. And I thought it wasn't a lot, but some of it has come out. So there now is some fresh oil on the chain. Well, it's not really an ideal situation, and I wasn't really expecting this. But yeah, lots of oil came from behind the driver through the bearings. You can also see lots of oil on this chain guard piece. Maybe some of that oil also came in the drum brake, and now the drum brake is just as oily as the old one. I guess this is just another reason to replace this wheel with the original one. When I rebuilt the hub, I only brushed on a little bit of oil, and after installing I gave it 4 pumps with this oil pump. It does look a lot. It's just regular 15W40 motor oil. So was this too much? Or is it too thin? I disconnected the rear drum brake, and now I will demonstrate the noise the front brake makes. And the brake lever is all the way against the handlebar. It's kind of skipping, so I guess at some point I will have to open up these drum brakes. Oh, and the front brake has been adjusted properly compared to the rear drum brake, but still it doesn't have a whole lot of stopping power. I guess I could tighten it up a little bit more, but then there will be drag. So the bicycle has been standing still here for at least 24 hours. And now check out how much oil came out of the hub. I'm not sure if it came from the drum brake side or from the drive side. The bicycle is leaning towards the drum brake side, but I can hardly imagine this amount of oil getting out of the hub. I kind of assumed that the oil would be trapped inside the hub. The drum brake side doesn't look wet, so I don't think this oil came through the drum brake. Maybe it was all already on the spokes or on the rim, and now it has worked itself to the bottom. I would say good rust prevention, but yeah, these are stainless steel rims